This 2025 Subaru Outback finds itself in an interesting position. This generation is in its sixth and final model year, and for many years, the Outback has been America's favorite beloved wagon. And at the New York Auto Show, they revealed the all-new 2026 Outback, and I was there for that. And I posted a video on TikTok from that reveal, and it got a lot of views, but that's because it was controversial. It also got a lot of comments, as you can see here on the screen, and they were overwhelmingly negative. And I think the main reason that the new 26 Outback got so much backlash is because when you look at it, it appears that all the proportions have changed and it just simply doesn't look like a wagon anymore. People love the Outback for being a capable and comfortable wagon. So in a lot of people's eyes, Subaru killed the wagon that everyone loves. So now with this 25, despite the fact that it is aging, if you really want that wagon form factor, this might be your last chance. So while this 25 Outback is a little bit outdated in some aspects, it still does most things really well, and I think it's still worth serious consideration. So let's take a deep dive and see if it's still worth your money. And by the way, this is just a walk around. If you're interested in how this drives, I have an in-depth test drive video that I've already posted, and that will be linked on the screen at the end of the video. So as always, we're gonna start this review here underneath the hood. What we have here is a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder boxer engine, puts out 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired with a CVT. 0 to 60 takes approximately 6.3 seconds. This can tow up to 3,500 pounds. This has 8.7 inches of ground clearance. Fuel economy ratings are combined 25 miles per gallon. That's 22 in the city, 29 on the highway, and the capacity of the fuel tank is 18.5 gallons. All right, so this Outback we have right here is the fully loaded Touring XT. All the amenities that the Outback has to offer, you'll find right here. So we do have some higher end touches here on the Touring. For one, we have the satin chrome mirror caps that look really nice. You can see we have an LED turn signal indicator here on the edge, and then shiny chrome here along the bottom, and it seamlessly connects with the window trim. So you can see that chrome window trim goes all the way around, and this mirror is power folding. They also added some chrome onto the door handle, not the entire door handle, but just a strip along the front. And then up top, we have some silver painted raised roof rails. The base of it is flat black, but these are really nice and sturdy. And it wouldn't be a Subaru without all the black cladding along the bottom. Now from the side profile, there isn't too much. I think it's an okay amount. So we have black cladding going around the wheel arch. We have it going along the bottom, and you can see they kind of made some cutouts into it to make it look a bit more rugged. We have an Outback logo there on the bottom of the back door. They made the cladding like extra thick on the wheel arch. But when looking at it from the side, the main appeal is just the fact that, you know, it looks like a station wagon. And even though station wagons have had a stigma associated with them in the past, to a lot of people, they've become cool again. Because think about it, it gives you SUV practicality and capability with driving dynamics that are like a sedan. Now let's take a look here at the wheel and tire setup. This is an 18-inch two-tone wheel, machined aluminum alloy on the outside with a dark gray insert. The tires it's riding on are Yokohama Avid GT, and the size is 225/60. Here at the front end, the Outback is showing its age quite a bit, particularly up here with the headlights. Now this is a little bit disappointing because this is a fully loaded model. You can see we have incandescent turn signals on a new 2025 car that is fully loaded. So that is certainly disappointing. They look very outdated at this point, and the majority of the industry have moved on from it. But looking at the rest of the housing, we do have an LED daytime running light, a little amber marker here on the side, and right now I have the hazards on, and you can see when the turn signals are turned off, it just stays illuminated solid amber, which once again I think really makes the design look dated. And also the LED daytime running light is not that bright, so maybe that's why they combined the amber with it. And now the main headlight beam is an LED projector beam, nice and bright, no complaints about that. And they swivel at night, so they are adaptive and they can move with the steering wheel. And down below you can see we have fog lights at the bottom, but those two also look a bit dated. They are reflector beam and not projector beam like the headlights. But I think the rest of the front end looks pretty good. Got that nice big 6-star Subaru logo right there in the center. forward-facing camera right underneath. The majority of the grille has a flat black insert, but we do have this strip of dark gray that goes through the middle. And then down at the very bottom, as you expected, a lot of flat black cladding. But right here in the middle, they did give us a painted silver piece. And with this one particularly having a dark exterior color, that kind of helps break up all the darkness. And now back in the rear, once again, it does look a bit dated with these incandescent turn signals. And another thing with the rear end is that when this generation came out in 2020, it hadn't changed a lot from the generation before that. They made a few little tweaks like darkening the edges of the housing, but the back of the Outback has basically looked the same for like 10 plus years. But this does have LED brake lights and tail lights, but the turn signal is incandescent and so is the reverse light. And if we look, you can see we have our backup camera here, and then our digital rear view mirror camera is right there in the antenna. We have a really small deck lid spoiler that sticks out of the top there, more black cladding on that, and then the majority of the bumper is flat black, as you'd probably expect. We do have 4 parking sensors on the back, another painted silver accent just like up front. And now let's head back into the cargo area. So you can see this one I have here is equipped with the all-weather floor liners in the car, but also the all-weather cargo liner that you see here. And this one is also equipped with a retractable cargo cover. So behind the second row seats, the way you see it here, we have 32.6 cubic feet of storage. And if we go underneath the floor, we have a jack set and some tools, and there is a compact spare tire underneath. And if we look off to the side, you can see the subwoofer for the Harman Kardon audio system. We'll listen to that later on. Off to the right side, we do have a 12-volt outlet, small storage cubby with a net cover, and something I am glad to see because the last several cars that I've tested did not have it. We do have handles on both sides to drop the second row seats. And we'll just pretend that that cargo cover is not there. But after you fold down those second row seats, you now have 75.6 cubic feet of storage. So now we are inside the 2025 Subaru Outback Touring XT, and it's a similar story to the exterior where it is looking a little bit dated, but it still does most things pretty well. And it's also shockingly premium in here. Like for example, let's start with the seats. On the Touring, you get Napa leather. I'm not sure that any competitors offer that. Extremely comfortable on long drives. Also, this brown color for the class isn't too common. Tasteful amount of white contrast stitching on the edges. You can see the whole seating surface is perforated. We even have on the driver's seat a manual extendable thigh support, power adjustable with lumbar support, power adjustable on the passenger side too, minus the lumbar, and these front seats are both heated and ventilated. And for the rest of the interior, there's leatherette everywhere, so it's all over the dash here, and it's stitched just like the seats. It comes all the way down underneath the screen. It's very soft. We have black leatherette down here, right along the side of the console, so you have a nice place to rest your knee. This lower section of the dash is also stitched leatherette, very soft to the touch. Same continues in this corner over here, and just down here, just shockingly premium. At the very top, it's an injection molded plastic, but very soft, very spongy, textured to mimic leather, although this one section right here, that is hard plastic. But for the upper, that's it. And then on the door panel, we have more of that spongy plastic at the top, but then the leatherette in the middle goes all the way up to the very top of the door with more contrast stitching. This is very high end. This part at the top on most cars just goes all the way across, but we get a lot of leatherette here on the door panel and on the armrests, and it wraps all the way around the side up to here. So just like that side, you can rest your knee there, and that's nice and soft too. You can see we have 2 memory settings for the driver, and I like the little chrome accents that we have on the window switches here. They are automatic up down for all 4, and we have those power folding mirrors. The door handle's really nice shiny chrome. They didn't overdo it with the chrome on the interior. just little accents like here and on that door handle. We have a more matte finish silver going around the screen and going around the air vents. But I just think the choice of materials and the quality is quite impressive for the price, for the class, and it's also extremely comfortable, and I think that's why I'm able to overlook some things in here that could be considered setbacks, which the main one for this interior is going to be the infotainment system. In terms of what it has to offer, there's some good functionality in here, but the execution leaves a bit to be desired. This is an 11.6-inch screen, so it's not small by any means. But in terms of, I guess, personal opinion, I'm not a huge fan of vertical setups like this, particularly in Apple CarPlay, because it becomes kind of just a square in the middle. I had a Volvo XC90 recently, and it was like the same thing. I think Apple CarPlay looks much better widescreen. Also, the resolution of the screen itself, not that high. And if you look at the edges of the display, you can see the actual screen where it displays the color. It's set in a bit, and it kind of just reminds me of like an old school computer monitor. You know, competitors with their newer displays just looks a whole lot better and a whole lot more up to date. Also, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I'm not a big fan of climate controls that are in the screen. Now granted, these do stay there, they don't disappear, and your main temperature controls and defroster controls are physical buttons. But my main issue with the AC controls being down here is that when you use them, they can be a bit laggy, and the whole infotainment system as a whole, when you first turn it on, can be pretty slow to respond. So on a day like today, when it's 100 degrees out, when you get in the car, you want to start up that AC right away, and when you turn the car on and it's lagging to get going, that gets quite frustrating. I found that it sorts itself out in like a minute or two. I guess one workaround for that would be, before you turn the car off, make sure you have it on full blast, and then once you turn it back on again, it'll be right where you left it. But in terms of the software that Subaru offers, we have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, Travel Link. This does have Sirius XM built in, and the My Subaru app. This also has an available Wi-Fi hotspot when you go into settings. Something really interesting I don't think I've seen before, it has reminders that you can set for people's birthdays and anniversaries. I think that's pretty cool. It's a bit quirky, but there's nothing wrong with that. This also has a TomTom based navigation system. I didn't really use it because I use CarPlay, but looking at the actual map, it doesn't look too dated, but it's also not super fast to respond either. But one thing I do really like is this information bar here at the top. So it shows you your acceleration percentage. So as you put your foot down, you can see now it's a little laggy, you know, just like everything else is, but that's pretty cool to see while you're driving. It'll show you, you know, exactly how much you have your accelerator pedal engaged. Fuel consumption information, it shows you like your pitch, your angle that the car is at. You can show you other things. You got the weather, your X mode for off-roading. It'll show you specifically the name of the road that you're on, except now I'm in a parking lot, and also your audio information. This also has valet mode. Something that is a real pet peeve of mine when it comes to Apple CarPlay is when you have wireless Apple CarPlay, but no wireless charger. The two go together. There's no point in having wireless CarPlay if you have to plug in your phone to charge it. I think you should either offer both or neither. And another thing, when I throw it in reverse, check out that camera system. So you can tell there that's certainly a bit dated. The picture is quite grainy, although it does offer distance markers and trajectory lines, but you can see we have no 360 camera. And it's weird because it offers a forward-facing camera, but no 360. And one more quirk with the infotainment system that I actually really like. If you open up the console, look what we have here. That's right, your eyes do not deceive you. That is a CD player in a fully loaded vehicle in 2025. So for older buyers that are looking into an Outback, you might really enjoy that. And this Outback also has a really good audio system, a 12-speaker Harman Kardon. So let's take a listen. It can actually go really loud without distortion, without compression. Higher volumes tend to rattle the door panel just a little bit, but other than that, I think it's a really solid audio system. And now the last drawback of the Outback, right here. As you can see, we still have analog gauges. No digital gauge display. We have a real tiny little screen there in the middle. And in terms of the information it can show, only that real tiny little part there at the top that you can scroll through to see what's there. So you have a compass, your tire pressure, trip information, more trip information, fuel economy, average fuel economy, clock and temperature. So it's very limited in what it can show. And you also could probably imagine if that's what that looks like, then you're definitely not getting a head-up display either. And now for the steering wheel, it is leather wrapped. We do have some contrast stitching on the inside. This is a heated wheel. The button is right there. The heat function works pretty well. I did test it out, but the wheel is looking a bit dated at this point. Also, something interesting, the horn button. This little section down here actually is part of the horn button. So if you're driving like this, you can just, with just your thumb, you can honk the horn. That's kind of neat. And as far as controls, on the left side, we have our volume switch, call button, voice command. This works, that little display up there. Fast forward, rewind, and your audio source. And then on the right side is your adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist. We do have paddle shifters on the back, but this does have a CVT, so to be 100% honest, there's not really a point in using them. So next, let's talk connections. We have an aux jack, a USB-C and a USB-A up there in the front with a little compartment to hold your phone. But as you can see, it's full of wires because you need a wire. And then inside the center console, along with that CD player, we do get a 12-volt outlet. It's an okay size in there, not crazy, but it does have 2 tiers. So you can put some flatter items right there, and then your bigger items in there. And up above, we do get a digital rear view mirror. That's good to see. And you do have a sunglass holder right there. And for the glove box, interesting with this, also a premium thing. It's stamped and it's lined with felt. Not a huge size though. As you can see, this manual takes up about half of it, but I guess it's passable. Up above, we do get a standard size moonroof. A panoramic is not available. So now I'm in the back seat right behind where I'd have the driver's seat adjusted for myself at 6 feet tall. And I have a good 4 or 5 inches of legroom to spare. Very happy to see lots of pocket options on the back of the seat. So you have a big main pocket. This one right here is probably to put your phone, and then you can put some smaller stuff there. But all of that is on both. Down in the center, you can see 2 nice big air vents. We have a USB-C, a USB-A, and the 2 outer seats are heated with 2 stages. And those really premium materials from the front do continue to the back. So the soft touch on the upper, the leatherette that goes all the way to the top of the door, the little bit of brown leatherette in there, the chrome door handle, and the chrome on the window switch. And the second row seats can recline. You can see right on the seat, we have a little latch there to move the seat up and down. Pretty good range of motion. You could have it all the way there or all the way back to there. And here in the center, we have the armrest that comes down. Really nice and soft, but I will say these cup holders are quite shallow, so I'm not sure exactly what kind of cup you could put in there, but it's a good armrest. MSRP of this fully loaded 2025 Subaru Outback Touring XT with its options is $46,306. This is the first vehicle that Subaru has sent me to review, so huge thank you to Subaru. I actually like this Outback a lot more than I thought I would, but let me know your thoughts on the 2025 Outback down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please share with a friend and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, and be sure to follow @Optical Automotive on TikTok and Instagram, and check out the page on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.